Boston Celtics, the Dallas Mavericks. Who is going to win the NBA Finals? How many games does it go? And who is your Finals MVP?
I'm right with Alan. I'm like literally deadlocked with him. I have it in 6. I have Dallas in 6. Only toss up. I don't know who's winning game 1 and game 2. It's going to be split, but I don't. I'm leaning towards Boston 1, Dallas game 2, but I'm not 100%. Like I don't know how that's going to go, but I have Dallas in 6.
MVP?
Luka.
The 6 games, Dallas Mavericks. I think they steal game 1. Boston gets game 2 back. And then Dallas wins games 3 and 4. Like Alan said, games 5 goes back to Boston. Dallas avoids going back to the Garden. They win game 6. And then, of course, Luka.
Mavericks in 6. Luka has an opportunity, obviously, to win the Finals MVP. That's going to be pretty much – he's the shoo-in. If they win, it's going to be Luka, right?
All About the Balls podcast
With Mark Davis, Jake Winnikine, and Alan Tomasella. Hello and welcome to All About the Balls podcast. I'm Mark Davis. This is the Sack House. That is Alan Tomasella. That is Jake Winnikine. And we are here today, well, tonight for us as we're recording today when you guys listen, to preview the NBA Finals, to go over the storylines between the Dallas Mavericks, the Boston Celtics, give our predictions, our Finals MVP prediction, talk a little bit more about the Lakers that are on the docket tonight, the Pacers, the Timberwolves, anything like that. Legacies will be talked about tonight, as Alan brought up right before the show started. But, man, it's exciting. And, Alan, how are you doing, man? We're just one night away from the time we're recording. It's honestly, I think, a good matchup between Boston and Dallas.
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. Just excited for this. I live for this. I love basketball, and I'm just ready to see these two teams go at it. I think it's a great matchup, and I just want to see Kyrie Irving win one.
Well, he's won one, yeah, but like
no, I know that, but I want him to win another one. I mean, I want to see him win one.
Still a little upset that LeBron said he's the best Robin he's ever had, which I take a little offense to that because I think it was D-Wade, but that's. I think LeBron and him have a little bit of beef at the moment. But Jake, how are you doing, man? How are you doing? Where you are about to talk Jason Tatum, Luka, Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm ready for these finals to start. I mean, it's as expected, as I had Dallas here to begin with, so it's no big deal.
I had Boston.
But no, I think it's gonna be a great series. This should be fun for sure. I'm ready.
Yeah, and speaking of ready, man, like I said, I'm excited. This is a good time right here. I'm thinking it's gonna be a good playoff, a good series here. Also, Jake, I know it's not hockey night, but hey, the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals too, so maybe a little Florida magic can run for us out there. I know you're not a fan of them, but hey, it's Florida royalty right now.
I think everybody's a fan of the hocky in general, just because of all the boobs that are out.
Dude, yeah. So like when I saw the Oilers won, and then I think it was they said it was the Capitals or whoever it was, but that was against the glass. I'm like, damn, dude. Like, where's the cameraman at? Like, whoever's ESPN TNT, they need to do better. Get that on there. But no, let's talk NBA Finals. And obviously, the Dallas Mavericks, the 5 seed in the West Conference, they've gone through 3 50-win teams. They've gone through the Clippers, then they've gone through the 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder, and now they just beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then you have the Boston Celtics, who have beaten teams of who, Miami without Jimmy Butler. They beat Cleveland Cavaliers without Jared Allen and 2 games without Donovan Mitchell. And then 2 games without Halliburton and the Pacers. So, boys, what are we thinking about the Dallas Mavericks, the Boston Celtics? What storylines do we want to start with? What are we watching out for these next couple weeks?
Yeah, we said it before the playoffs started. We said that the Dallas Mavericks had the best run up into leading into the playoffs. We said that they were the best team going into the playoffs. And they've done nothing but prove that. I mean, they've went through tough teams. They've beaten at every round. They've beaten a 50-win team. Only other team that has done that, as far as I know, is the 2010 Lakers. And they were the number 1 seed when that happened. So I think that's a little bit more tough because, I mean, you're the number 1 seed. Even the 8 seed is a 50-win team. But still, like, I think that we're looking at this and we're just saying this is a tough matchup for the Boston Celtics. They've got the 5 starters. Nobody's going to dispute that. But they don't have the bench. And we said it before the series. If I look at the coaching matchup here, is Jason Kidd the greatest? No, but at least at mediocre, he's better than Joe Mazzulla. And then you've got a better bench on the team, and you've got the two, in my opinion, those two stars are better than the two stars on the Celtics. You can make an argument for Jaylen Brown being better than Kyrie Irving, but there's nobody in this entire world that will argue that Jason Tatum's better than Luka. And in my opinion, they're just the more solid team built up, and they're more battle tested, in my opinion, too, because obviously we saw what the Celtics did. You alluded to that. They beat up against injured teams, and they were just able to go out and do what we said that they do when we started the playoffs, which was they just go out, they jack up threes, they shoot, they let their offense run the teams, and they don't have to actually run any schemes. They don't have to do any inbound plays. They don't have to make any good decisions because they're just flat out better than the guys that are on the other side of the court because of injuries.
A lot of people are saying, though, that a lot of like the talking heads are saying that Boston's bench is better. Now, I don't think they played better. I know, but people have been saying it, and that's the thing. I don't get it. I think Dallas's bench this playoffs has been better than Boston's bench. Maybe the regular season, yes, Boston's bench was better, but these three series, it's been Dallas. Dallas's bench has been key, and the reason why they're winning. I know Luka and Kyrie are there, but the bench has stepped up big time.
Yeah, well, Dallas has the younger team, and you see it in their ability to get the ball down the court, and you see it in their athleticism. Luka is literally tossing up, alley-oops left and right. I mean, Daniel Gafford, this is not a guy who's, he's not a great player, but with that team and what he does on that team, he does a really good job. And then you've got Derek Lively, who really moves around, and he can get into the, he's coming off of the bench, and he can definitely create mismatches. And then you've got PJ Washington. And of course you've got Kyrie, and you've got Luka, but I don't know where the matchups are going to be. What are you going to do? Are you going to play a 2-man game on Luka, switching off Brown and Tatum on him? Because neither one of those guys are going to lock up Luka. They're not going to stop him.
Neither one.
Mind you, the last couple of times that they've played, Luka's hit game-winning daggers on him.
Boston did sweep them, but that was right before the defense turned their heads and they became a better defense for Dallas. Now, the last time that Boston beat the shit out of them, but Dallas did score, they just couldn't stop them. That was the problem. Now, if Dallas's defense reverts back to that, then it will be a long series for the Dallas Mavericks. But if we see what they've been doing the last couple months, like you've alluded to, every time we talk Dallas, Boston's got a tough time scoring too. Porzingis being back is going to be interesting to me because it's going to be he's just a big piece out there. He can shoot when he needs to. He's very key for Boston. I think they didn't need him the last two playoff series.
But he hasn't played since April. So, how is that rust gonna play out in this situation? I mean, are you going to expect – because they're going to leave him open. Obviously, Porzingis is not Rudy Gobert, but you're still going to leave him open. You want him taking that shot over, anybody else. I mean, maybe they're going to try to isolate and get Drew Holiday to be more offensive. But I think that Dallas has the length and the speed to be able to disrupt what the Celtics normally do, which is just jack up threes. They have the length and speed to be able to do that. And then for the Celtics, who's going to match up with these guys? Because PJ Washington in the corner, Derek Jones Jr. in the corner, those are guys that are going to knock down those 3-point shots. And that athleticism driving to the paint, they're going to kill them because Porzingis is not going to be able to move with those guys. He's long and lanky, but he's not going to be able to move with those guys. And we talk about the mental, type of situations that's going to come out of this. Kyrie playing in Boston and how the fans are going to react to him. Luka's going to be pissed about it. Like, if Luka is not going to just be okay with them dogging him and saying the things that they're going to say about him. So Luka's going to come out and ball. And then can Porzingis handle how Dallas is going to treat him? Because they fucking hate him in Dallas. I don't
remember so was the Porzingis really that bad blood? I mean, I must have honestly just I forgot how the whole thing ended. Like, it was, I understand the Kyrie situation, but was Porzingis truly bad blood between the two of them?
Well, I thought that he was brought in to be that second piece, and he just
He was.
never lived up to it. But then not only
Mhm.
did he not live up to it, he gave up. He gave up, and in Dallas, you know how people are. Dallas wants you to fight. They want you to fight through things. They want you to just be tough and gritty and do those things. And he never did that. And they wanted him off of the team. The fans wanted him off of the team. The players wanted him off of the team. Luka wanted him off of the team. Like, this was something that just across the board, everybody wanted him gone. So it's
But he
not
hasn't
going to
done,
be
like-
pretty when he gets there.
But he didn't go to like the level like Kyrie and Boston went to, where he's stepping on the logo or giving them the bird and things like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you got to preface that. You have to preface that, and you have to say that like the fans there were fucking booing him, and they were cursing him.
They're going to take it. They're going to take it as the same for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, Boston fans are a little more, and Boston fans are a little more extreme than Dallas fans, especially the history of the Celtics compared to the history of the Mavericks. The winning culture, because Kyrie was supposed to be the guy. It wasn't supposed to be, like Porzingis was supposed to be number 2 to Luka. Kyrie was supposed to be the number 1 in Boston, and he just wasn't. He's not a 1. He's just not a 1 on any team. That's the problem, and that's fine. But man, I think Kyrie's going to go off, boys. I think Kyrie and Luka are going to average probably kind of like what LeBron and Kyrie was doing back in the day when they beat the Warriors. Probably like 28, 30 points a game for both of them.
Yeah, for me, I don't even know where to begin with the series. Like, if you want to start with the coaching, I'm going with Kidd all day. Like, that's not even a question. If we're going about who's been battle tested, it's been Dallas this playoff series. Boston hasn't had a coach that had to do anything, had to scheme anything. Like you said, they had a cakewalk. So I mean, they haven't even been tested. They think they're just the greatest team right now, and I think they're gonna get punched early.
And Pacers played them tough all 4 games.
I was about to get to that. And let's not act like we were impressed with Boston. Like, they played beat up teams, and I was not impressed. Like, they didn't look like the best team out there. I think if those teams were healthy, Boston could have lost a series. Like, I was not impressed. So obviously they're gonna be outcoached. You brought up Porzingis. Like, we don't know what Porzingis we're getting. Like, every time in history someone brought a player back in the finals, it's backfired. Look at the Orlando Magic. They brought Jameer Nelson back for the finals. Ruined it. I mean, obviously they weren't going to win that series anyway, but still, it was a disaster. It ruined the whole chemistry that they had going already. I mean, Boston doesn't really have any chemistry right now. Like, they're just jacking up shots. But who knows what Porzingis we're getting. I agree with Alan about he's probably going to be left open early. They're going to make him make some shots. How quick is he going to be on his feet to guard Dallas? Because Dallas is quick. He could end up being a liability. Like, I'm not 100% that he'll even be playable by the end of the series, like as a starter. And like you said, I have Kyrie and Luka balling. I think they're going to go off in this series. I think they're going to have free range, like just the way that Boston plays. Dallas has so much movement. Like, they're either going to have to completely lock down on Luka and Kyrie, and then you have all the shooters wide open. So then they're not going to be able to do that, and then Kyrie and Luka are going to have a field day. So, I mean, I have them both scoring 30 apiece easily. Also, but that's where
I just don't get how Boston was number 2 on defense all year. Like, I just don't. I mean, I get Derek White's a dog, but he can't guard everyone. I mean, he can't guard Luka and Kyrie. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Have to be, yeah, I mean,
well, I mean, you also, so not only do you have Derek White, but you've got probably the best defensive guard in the entire league, which is Drew Holiday. So I do think that it's going to be, I do think it's going to be tough for Kyrie, but I don't know what they do against Luka, because Tatum and Brown, yes, they're decent at defense. I don't think that they're top notch. They're not top 10. I don't think that they're guys that are going to be able to stop him. And I think we see Luka go off this series. And the more that they have to add to try to take away Luka in this series, the more Kyrie's going to go off. So I think the first couple of games,
the more that they focus on them, the shooters are open.
Exactly. So I think the series is going to start off, and I think Kyrie's going to get, he's going to have some tough nights. I don't know if he's going to go crazy. What I expect to happen is in the first couple of quarters, at least for the first 2 games, is it's going to be all Luka, and then Kyrie's going to close. I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to be the closer. I don't know if necessarily they close. I do have this series going 6 games. I know that's kind of jumping the gun here, but I have it going 6 games, and I do think that Dallas steals one in Boston, takes home court, and they maintain home court. But again, I think it's really going to be a lot more of Luka and then Kyrie closing, and then when we get into Dallas, it's going to be more of the off guys that are just going to have insane lights out games.
Did you say that Dallas is going to win one of the two, or do you think they're going to win game one? Or I didn't know how you said that.
I think they're just going to steal one of
the
the first 2 games. I don't know. I think this is going to be a tightly contested series. As far as each game goes, I think they're going to be tight. I almost predicted the point differential in the Dallas and the Timberwolves series. I said leading up into that, I said that it was going to be a series that was decided by less than 20 points. And going into the last game, it was at like 18 point differential. So and then obviously Dallas blew them out in the last game. But I think that this is going to be another tight game situation that happens. But the Dallas Mavericks have the better closers. We know what Tatum is in closing
situations. Thank you. Yes.
And I don't think that Boston is going to have the other guys that can step up. Again, I think Dallas is the deeper team. I think that they have the shooters. And at home, those guys are going to step up. And I think that's where they take control of the series. I expect them going back to Boston in game 5 being up 3-1. Boston probably wins that game. And then I think Dallas closes in game 6.
Yeah, it just Tatum and Brown. I mean, they've been there. The chemistry for both teams. Obviously, Tatum and Brown have the best chemistry. You're talking duos, but I think that Kyrie and Luka are better as a individual players that are playing together. But Tatum and Brown, man, they have the talent, they have the raw ability, and they have everything that you can ask for out of a star player. But like you said, Tatum falls short. It's either one. It's either Tatum's hot and Brown struggles to find something clutch in the fourth quarter, or it's Brown is hot and Tatum, like the game 1 against the Pacers. Like it was Brown in the fourth quarter, and then Tatum, got hot in overtime, but Brown saved him after Tatum was struggling. And if they both click in the fourth quarter, it is going to be tough because I don't think Luka is going to be able to guard him, and I don't know who's going to guard Tatum and Brown for the Dallas Mavericks. Neither in that situation. If they're both hot, I think they can cause Dallas some struggles there on the defensive end for the Mavericks, but I just think maybe the offense is going to be too much for the Celtics to overcome. I think the Luka and Kyrie are going to be destined. Like you guys said, Luka's going to play hot for his boy, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kyrie just carries the team himself because I know he's been humble. He doesn't want to talk about he said he was young, he was immature, now he's matured, but I think he wants it more than anybody. He wants this finals, I think, more than anybody that's playing in this series.
Yeah. My thing, I mean, I totally agree with both you guys. Like I just said, closers. I mean, in the fourth quarter, game on the line, who would I want the ball to have? I want Luka or Kyrie to have the ball over all day, every day over those two. So I trust them more to win a game. I trust down, whether it's game 3, game 4, game 5. I trust the coaching to scheme up better stuff than Boston's going to. So I think that there'll be scenarios where Boston just jacks up shots because they're not going to have any freaking plays. So I trust the coaching. I trust Luka and Kyrie in the fourth quarter over Tatum and Brown easily. So I mean, that's where I'm at for sure.
I don't want Boston to win. I really want Dallas, but for some reason, like it's got like that sickening feeling that I feel like Boston is somehow gonna. I'm not wishing an injury. I don't think someone's gonna get hurt, but it's like every series someone's been hurt, and for like the team that Boston's played, and they escape because someone key goes down, and I just for some reason have that feeling that Boston somehow is gonna. I don't think they're gonna win, but it's kind of like in the gut where I can kind of see it, and it's gonna be sickening to see too. Because I have Celtics. I know we all probably have Celtics buddies out there, and the fans are just so fucking nuts, and it's just gonna be annoying to see Tatum and Brown win. I don't mind Brown; it's more Tatum. I have a problem with.
If Dallas wins on Boston's court, does Kyrie do it again?
No,
he's too mature now. I think he's matured.
I don't know.
I think he might do it. I think he might do it. I think he might run on it.
I think
run up
Luka
to
might-
it, and
I think
like
Luka might do it.
Luka might do it too, just because of the fans.
Mhm.
Like the whole team might fucking do it, just because they know the gravity of the situation and what they want to
Oh,
do.
that would be great. That'd be great.
Yeah,
I just don't. I personally think that I think Kyrie was at a stage in his career, and it doesn't also help that you have Kevin Durant, who's also a weak-minded superstar at the time. I mean, he's always been weak-minded, so it doesn't help that you have a guy like Kevin Durant next to you, probably encouraging you to do shit like that. And Kyrie's moved on.
He wanted his Terrell Owens moment.
He did. Well,
Yeah.
that was Terrell. Terrell did it before he came to the Cowboys, so it was a little different. He was giving them that hey, I'll be here in like a decade. Don't worry, I'll be here soon, Dallas. But no, I think that Kyrie's matured, and I mean, would it be awesome to see? Kind of like we saw with Nick Bosa and Baker when they threw the flag off against each other back in college. Yeah, something like that would be cool. But I think Kyrie's. I think he's that's part of his past. He doesn't give a shit. I don't think he truthfully cares enough to express that moment anymore. Maybe deep down he cares, but I don't think he is going to show it in front of us.
I hope Luka does it then.
yeah. I
That'd be Jake's new favorite player after
somebody is
Steph
gonna
would
do
be
it.
Luka.
Somebody's gonna do it because
Somebody's gonna do it.
they know the gravity of the situation. They know,
Especially the fans are trashed the whole series. Somebody's gonna do it.
yeah.
But now, does Tatum or Brown do it to Kyrie's team?
Oh no, they would never.
No.
They're not dogs like that. They
They're too
don't have
soft.
it in them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too soft.
I mean, I did see Jason Tatum's like middle school. Those videos are coming out where he was. I think he was playing with Canuck, whatever, from one of the finals teams for the hockey, and they went to school together. So they were showing like his rap videos back in the day, and he just looked like a cornball. Jason Tatum did back
Super cornball.
Yeah.
And then
in
That's
the
like,
Midwest, right?
it's like Drake. It's like Drake and Degrassi. Come on now.
yeah, it's the most cornball moment of all time in all sports is Jason Tatum sending or posting the tweet that he sent to Kobe saying, "I got you today." Like, that is just the most cornball shit. Everybody fucking just looked at him like he was a straight cornball.
Jesus looked at Kobe and probably says, "This your guy?" And Kobe's like, "I don't know, man."
No, Kobe's like, "Nah, my guy's Kyrie." What do you mean?
No, but I guess we could talk before we do the finals. I mean, Alan, you hit it on the head. I mean, I think who needs it more is Tatum. Now, which legacy does it? I think I think everything benefits better for Tatum, even the legacy talk, because no matter if Luka loses, he's not going to get maybe a hard pass for it. Like, they're going to be like give him excuses, but they're going to say he's 25. It's his first finals appearance, kind of like they did Tatum a couple years ago. I think Tatum needs just more to quiet every single doubter like us, like people that just don't believe he's going to win, and it does help him because he gets Jake said, he gets a championship before a lot of greats.
Let me ask you this question. If the Celtics win, but Jaylen Brown wins Finals MVP, like he won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, does that help Tatum's legacy?
I mean, no, not really.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean,
I don't think that it does.
That's like saying that
come out of the ball though.
I know he hasn't won MVP, but that's like Steph. He didn't win the first finals. Steph didn't win a finals MVP till his fourth one.
Yeah, I mean, Steph really he got beat up. They were not calling plays. They were not calling fouls. Like, they were allowing them to just hold onto his jersey, pull him around. They were doing everything. Like, in the first one, they were allowing him to just straight get beat up. And really throughout the entirety of his finals career, it wasn't until the fourth one where you couldn't do that to him. And it really, to me, I just don't think that Boston was ready yet at that moment too. And you could see that Steph was the most, mature. He was the most experienced, the best player on the court. Like, at that moment, nobody was stopping Steph at that point. I get that. I get he didn't win it until his fourth one. But I still don't sit here and say that Jaylen Brown winning it over Tatum is similar to that situation, because we all know the engine that drove them to the finals. Jason Tatum this year has not been the engine that drove him to the finals.
I still think that it quiets it a little bit. If Tatum is playing just as good as Brown and Brown wins it, I don't think it truthfully matters, because it's not just Tatum. Like, I know it's Tatum's the star of the team, but it does kind of still reflect on Brown. Like, it's both. They're 1A, 1B when it comes to who needs it more.
If Brown gets MVP but Tatum balls out, okay, it's fine. But if Tatum's a no-show, then no, I'm not.
Especially if he's missing shots in crunch time and Jaylen Brown is the guy that's balling that's like bailing him out. Like, that's still going to be a knock on Tatum. And you asked, the question, I brought it up before the show, but Luka or Tatum. I think that this finals can actually have more impact. Not who needs it more, but in a sense of who is going to have more impact for winning it, and I think it's going to be Luka, because we all know that Luka is in that top 3. You could even argue top 2. Like I think it's generally known that Jokic and Luka right now are those 2 guys that in the league nobody wants to see, nobody wants to play those guys, and I think that this is that moment that can actually catapult Luka. If Luka wins the finals this year and he wins finals MVP, I think he's probably a shoo-in for MVP next year. He's going to start so far ahead of the field when it comes to the MVP next year. So he's just going to start stacking up all of those other credentials that he needs to really put him on that plane. You said earlier too about LeBron James. Is this Luka starting to take over and do it better and faster than what LeBron James did? And you can't really argue that other than the MVPs. But if he wins one next year and then he gets a couple more after that, I think that definitely you have to start looking at that. The thing that has been different this year is that when the team was constructed at the trade deadline and they brought in the defensive guys, Luka started playing better defense. Like, he's committed to the defensive end, and he started like the best play of the entire year that was voted by fans and voted by coaches and players was Luka getting a steal and tossing it as he's falling down to Kyrie, who then lobs it up to Derrick Jones. Like, that was a defensive play by Luka. Now, that's one play, but that is also a catalyst for what he's also been doing this entire time since the trade deadline. He's been much more disruptive on the defensive end. He doesn't have to be a lockdown guy. A lot of people talk about LeBron James with his defense as being, something that is, a difference maker. But LeBron James really has never truly been a full lockdown guy. He's been an off-ball defensive guy that disrupts and creates fast break movements, and that's that's the identity of the Miami Heat. When you go back to the Cavaliers, even when with the Lakers, we had Anthony Davis as the anchor, but LeBron James was creating those fast break movements. That we were one of the best fast break teams in the entire league when we won that championship.
Yeah. So we were. Yeah. So was Miami back. Good. The good old days for me. The good old days. No, I get what you're saying. Like long-term legacy, it helps Luka with the benefits he would reap. But I think if you it would just kind of shut everything down for like Tatum, all the Tatum haters, like they call us. It would shut us down for a little bit because Tatum can finally say, "Get off my back, get off my ass." I got the ring. And like Jake said, he did it before MJ, did it before LeBron, season-wise.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that also helps him there, too.
If the Celtics lose this finals, they're the only team in NBA history to go to 5 out of 7 finals or something like that, or Eastern Conference finals.
Eastern Conference
and not win a championship. They would be the only team. Right now, they're the only team that hasn't done it yet. So, then do you ask the question, is it time to separate these two? Because this is the moment.
We've been asking that for a couple of years now.
But this is really the moment, though. This is like you've got the cakewalk schedule to the finals. This is your opportunity. You're the best team in the league. Statistically, you're one of the most offensive proficient. That thing to me is a little bit watered down because
you're the favorite. Blah, blah, blah.
And on top of that, like they're the most proficient offensive team in league history or whatever. But you know who's number 2? The fucking Indiana Pacers from this year. So like it's watered down because of how the league has changed to be so offensive in general. So,
well, they already paid Brown, correct? So it would be
they did, and they paid Tatum too. I thought
they're all paid.
They're all paid.
Tatum is paid. Okay,
but I think you've got to. I think at this point you have to ask the question: is this is the easiest moment for you? This is your moment, and if you don't do it now, you've got to start looking. Okay, maybe we brought in Drew, we brought in Porzingis, we brought in these other guys. We need depth So now, which one of these guys do we move? Is it Brown or is it Tatum?
And this is like you said.
Yeah, I was just saying, but this is for sure. Boston has to win this. Like as
Yeah.
you just brought up the resume, the Eastern Conference championships, the finals. Like they've been here, they've got it. They got to win this. There's no exception. If they lose this, like it's time to break it up. I mean, there's no more excuses. Like you've been here numerous times, like either Eastern Conference finals, or the finals. But there's no excuses. They have to win this series, or the stars need to be broken up. Like we can't make any more excuses. I mean, it's almost like the Niners in NFL. Like at some point, you got to win. Like it's just pathetic.
We'll talk about that because that was coming soon, Jake. That 49ers, I'm glad you teased that because that in a couple of weeks we talk NFC West. I have some stuff about that. You're on my same mindset.
But seriously, it's the same. It's the same thing. Like at some point, yes, you're the best team, but
especially this year where the road to the finals wasn't the most difficult for you. This has probably been the easiest road out of all these like deep runs that you mentioned, Alan. That this has been the easiest run that they've had. Now I get it. Dallas is different. If Dallas is healthy, yes, that's a challenging. And I'll give you the flowers if you beat Dallas. Like that's cool and all. But like this has been the easiest run that they've had to the finals.
This might be the easiest run that any team has ever had to the finals.
Ever had, yeah.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. And I was just thinking when you were talking about like split them up, like I get it. The big three back in the day, they won a championship and they went to 2 championships. But if you think about all these like super teams, I'm not gonna say it's a failed experiment because they went to a finals and won one. But like they're little dynasties that they try and put together. They're not dynasties, but they're little super teams. They really haven't been successful. They brought Kyrie in back in the day, and that didn't work. And now it's just Tatum and Brown, and who else is supporting them? Porzingis and whatnot. It hasn't been successful yet, and that's just so weird to see because they've been so deep every single year, just about.
I mean, this is a super team. I mean, you got Drew Holiday and Porzingis making $36 million. You got 4 players making. You got 4 players making $30+ million. Like
and
legit.
You don't have the bench. Like that is like literally the definition of a super team.
And you have Derek White, who's playing. He's playing at a really good level. Like I like watching Derek White play. He's a feisty little guy out there, man. He fucking balls. I mean, he's the fifth name you're gonna mention when the whole starting lineup's out, unfortunately. But
who's their 6th best player? Who's their 6th best player? Is it Al Horford? At 42 years old, like, is it Peyton Pritchard? Like,
and he's the only guy that I would be happy for. He's legit the only guy I'm happy for if Boston wins is Al Horford. He's the only guy I'd be happy for the Boston Celtics.
Can we bank on a game where Al Horford scores 20? Yeah, it's probably going to happen in the finals.
Didn't he have a big game against Indiana?
I mean, he just seems to have that happen, but then he doesn't do much else in the rest of the series. Like he's going to hit some key shots. He'll have a game where he scores 20-something points or whatever, and that'll probably be game 5 when they need that win and they win that. But other than that, I don't think that he's a difference maker. And that's why we run down the list of the players on each team. And I just say Dallas is the much more deep team. Like, they're not even playing Tim Hardaway Jr. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is better than anybody on the bench of the entire Boston Celtics.
I got a pop quiz. After Horford and Pritchard, can you name me one more Boston player?
I fucking can't. Honestly, I can't.
If you guys can, I definitely can.
My point exactly. So their players are Pritchard and Horford on their bench. That's it.
Damn, who else is on there? Let me go look at this real quick.
You can look at it. You're still not gonna know them.
Oh yeah, I never said I was gonna know. I want to look now. I want to see who they had against the Pacers.
Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, Jaden Springer.
Are they actually getting playing time again? Like I've never seen these guys' names.
Alan, here it is. Right here. So minutes.
14 minutes.
Hauser got 14 and 2 9s, but yeah, their starters are playing 44, 40, 38, 42, 44.
Yeah.
Well, that was out with Porzingis though. So Porzingis will maybe make a little bit like the bench will get maybe a little bit because he's gonna have to get like more like Horford, for example, is gonna go on the bench. So
they were playing 40 minutes against scrubs.
Yeah,
they had to play them 40+ minutes against beat up teams in the playoffs.
Horford's not playing 40 minutes. We know that because he plays 40 minutes against Dallas. They'll run him off the court quick.
But that's my point. They don't even have enough of a bench to play against those beat up teams. Mm-mm.
So, while we're at it, I mean, I know Alan did his little tidbit. Let's ask the question: The Boston Celtics, the Dallas Mavericks. Who is going to win the NBA Finals? How many games does it go? And who is your Finals MVP?
I'm right with Alan. I'm like literally deadlocked with him. I have it in 6. I have Dallas in 6. Only toss up. I don't know who's winning game 1 and game 2. It's going to be split, but I don't. I'm leaning towards Boston 1, Dallas game 2, but I'm not 100%. Like I don't know how that's going to go, but I have Dallas in 6.
MVP?
Luka.
I agree with you, boys. I was telling my office 6 games, Dallas Mavericks. I think they steal game 1. Boston gets game 2 back. And then Dallas wins games 3 and 4. Like Alan said, games 5 goes back to Boston. Dallas avoids going back to the Garden. They win game 6. And then, of course, Luka. And then he submits now his little 1 year as the face of the NBA, the best player in the NBA. He's going to take over Joker spot for the year. We'll see next year who takes that spot. But Luka is the Finals MVP.
Yeah, and I also have to point out here, I think that the top 3 players in the league are Luka, Joker, and Giannis. Those are the top 3 players in the league. No particular order, however you want to toss it up. And I think
international players.
Whoa, Alan, what are you doing?
But no, I mean, hey, bro, I mean, I'm just spitting facts. Like I say what I'm saying. The truth was the same thing that I said previously about the international players is that they need to start getting more flack and they need to start being held to the same standards as American players. But I still think that they're the best players in the league. Like that's not an argument. And I think that, you know, over the next couple of years, we're going to start seeing kind of like a little bit of a back and forth between these teams. It's so hard to win back-to-back in the NBA right now. It's hard to do it in the NFL. It's hard to do it in any league, period, because of all the things that have been happening.
Well, yeah, so the NFL.
Sports.
The NFL, that was the first time since the 03-04 Patriots that
exactly, yeah,
that's 20 years ago.
It is a tough thing to do nowadays because of free agency, because of the collective bargaining agreements that are going around, because of the different deals with free agents, what you can and cannot do, how you have to trade players, and this new collective bargaining agreement is going to add more to that because it's going to be more beneficial for players to be traded than for them to be signed in free agency. You're going to make it. It's all going to create even more parity. And you see, like, it's just injuries have such an impact now in the NBA because of how impactful players are. I think we're going to see that kind of like a carousel thing that goes on over the next couple of years. And none of these players are going to be able to actually solidify themselves as being one of the greatest players of all time because they're all going to be competing against each other. But that to me is also a mark that we're going to, in 20 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to say, well, they played in the most like the most competitive league that we've ever seen. So if a guy can still stack up 3 or 4 championships, maybe he loses a couple in the finals, it's not going to matter as much. And so it's a little tough there. But what I would say is going back to this in my finals, in my MVP prediction, I already went over it. Mavericks in 6. I already broke down how I thought the games were going to go. I think that Luka has an opportunity, obviously, to win the Finals MVP. That's going to be pretty much – he's the shoo-in. If they win, it's going to be Luka, right? Mm-hmm. But Kyrie does have an opportunity here to win that Finals MVP if he shows out and has maybe not as – he's not going to have the same stats, but if he has the moments – in the finals. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that I think the voters look at and they say, all right, Luka carries the team, but then in the fourth quarter, if Kyrie's still averaging 25, 4, and 6, like Kyrie with the daggers, then Kyrie has an opportunity to win the Finals MVP.
Similar to what you said about Shaq and Kobe. Oh, not you said off air, but like in the Discord. Well, Shaq said that Kobe could have won those Finals MVPs. Same situation, but Shaq's first 3 quarters were so fucking dominant.
Yeah,
you had no choice but to give it to Shaq. And then Kobe had great fourth quarters for each playoff runs in the finals. But yeah, if Luka balls out like those, like kind of like what Shaq did, he's still averaging 30-something points a game. It could be hard to give it to Kyrie, but And
Kyrie,
you mentioned,
Kyrie's just so clutch though. Like Kyrie hits
yeah,
big shots and big
is
moments.
and if he's making like all-time layup package plays and like signature moments in these situations where it's a tie game or maybe they're down by one and he goes in and just does this incredible layup that nobody thinks is gonna go in. Like those are the things that I think are gonna propel that. It's the same thing kind of with Steph. When he won his finals MVP, he was just, he had just crazy packages that was going on. He was just tossing it up and it was going in. He just owned each moment as well as being the catalyst of the team. Again, I don't think Kyrie can be the catalyst, but I think that he can be the one that steals the moments. And if that happens, then he could win the MVP.
or maybe he has another moment instead of like, shooting over Steph, game 7 in the finals. Maybe he gets that switch up on Tatum or Brown and he says, "Come here, man." And he fucking launches it over there. And I'll still see Steph's face in that, but it'll be kind of like a mirror fucking shot. Would love to see it, Jake.
Kyrie's clutch for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Alan, you mentioned the back to back. Obviously, the Chiefs done it recently, and like I said, that was the first time in so long. But the Warriors were the last team to do it. Baseball hasn't happened since fucking 1999 and 2000, and that was a three-peat. So, yeah, like these major leagues, they like the big three leagues, dynasties. Back to backs are very rare to see. When you do see it, it's cool to see. But yeah, we haven't seen baseball this century. So that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about it at the beginning of the playoffs. Like in the West, 10 teams finished 10 games over 500.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that is just, it's incredible to see. We love being a part of this moment, love seeing it. And, it just speaks to how much parity there is in the NBA right now. And I think that we just got to sit back and enjoy the show. It kind of is a disservice to us that we get to see this Boston Celtics teams not even be tested to get into the finals. But I think that one thing that we all know as sports fans, just in general, just as sports fans, if you're watching the show and you watch sports, that the team that's more battle tested is the team that is 9 times out of 10 going to win those games, because you're just, how those moments feel in your bones. And when it gets to crunch time and that pressure starts adding on to you, how to execute that. We see it all the time.
Unless you're LeBron in the 2010 era where the East was still not as tough and they weren't as battle tested, but he found ways to win. But Tatum's not LeBron James, and Jaylen Brown is not Dwayne Wade. Porzingis is maybe Chris Bosh, but he's not Chris Bosh. So like that's the thing, is like those guys aren't the trio that Miami had. So like,
yeah, you know what though? I don't even remember Miami doing what the Lakers did in 2000, and I think it was 2001 when they went 16-1 in the playoffs. Like I don't remember that happening with Miami Heat. I mean, they got tested. They had some tough games go up against them, and they were playing against healthy teams.
It was part of the plan. LeBron doesn't want to sit. He likes to play as many games as possible without flirting with too much danger. A lot of 3-2 comebacks we had. Boston was part of the early run with Miami.
Yeah, the early run. I mean, it was a
did the Warriors do that too? 16-1.
I'd have to double check that. I can't remember. I mean, maybe they did with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant.
They did we're pretty sure we did with Durant.
Because wasn't one of your losses one of the Cavs games? I think LeBron them stole a game, wasn't it?
I think we swept them.
You sweep both years?
No, I'm talking about one of the years we went 16-1. I think.
Yeah, but I think the year you went 16-1, I think LeBron stole a game. I think.
But we did go 16-1.
I remember.
Yeah, you did. You did. So Golden State went 16-1 in 2017. So outside of the Lakers in 2001, they're the only team that ever went 16-1.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron, like, what? I mean, yeah, they were tested, but I still don't think they were like battle tested like the West was. Like, that's what I'm saying. That was my comparison. Was whoever the West got, like the Thunder, the Spurs, the Mavericks, those teams beat way better teams than the Heat did, and then the Cavaliers when LeBron went back to Cleveland, things like that.
The thing with the East is that it's always been top heavy. So those first rounds and second rounds are kind of, easier, but then you get into that Eastern Conference Finals and then you go up against a tough team. I know they went up against the Pacers a couple times with Paul George and those guys with Roy Hibbert, the infamous blowing in LeBron's ear situation. Like, you just had a lot of teams that were able to do that, but it was always top heavy. So like the top 3 teams, you knew that they were competitive, but the rest of the Eastern Conference was not competitive. So I get where you're coming from, but I do think that they did have to play some teams going into it.
I got to go back real fast. Were you really about to compare Porzingis and Chris Bosh? Oh,
That's why I said never mind, because Bosh is better.
no.
Yeah, I corrected. I stopped. I said maybe, and I was like, nah, he's not. That's like our trio would shit all over that trio. Best player because Dwayne Wade, prime D Wade, would be the one on Boston, just like LeBron would be the one in Boston, and then Bosh is not gonna be the one in Boston if he was there, but D Wade and LeBron, and that's why it offended me what LeBron said about, oh, Kyrie's my best teammate I've ever had. Shut the fuck up. Like, politely, LeBron, I love you because what you did for us, but D Wade is no second tier to Kyrie Irving. I don't give a shit. Because without Dwayne Wade, you don't know how to win a championship. You don't know how to be that guy.
I don't know, man. I will say this: in 2011, they're not even competitive in the finals if they didn't have Dwayne Wade. Like, that is a fact, but they didn't win. So when Dwayne Wade was having to be your number one because he was stepping up to do it, you couldn't win. After that,
well, it's hard also too because your number one is Wayne. Your number one's anchoring you down too. So like your true number one, because LeBron was the best player on the team. I will never deny that, but he's weighing you down. I mean,
but you saw after that, Dwayne Wade started to decline. Like he started a steep decline over the next couple of years playing with LeBron James. And
my question to you then,
part because they did not have the bench, so they had to, really play a lot of minutes and go in and play.
That was one of my favorite finals. Oh, that was just.
Well, I have a question for you then, Alan, because if you ask the same situation where they were playing the Warriors, just like we played the Mavericks, when they both went off, when they came back from 3-1, if LeBron's weighing them down, is Kyrie ever going to step up and carry that team as the number one? No, they won't do that neither. So I think it goes both ways. Kyrie's not going to be asked to be the number one in that situation and take over a team and win it. With LeBron,
that's my opinion when it comes to the better number twos, because I'm gonna go with 2 Laker players. So it's.
And if I'm going prime D Wade and prime Kyrie, I will take prime D Wade any day because I know the defensive ability that D Wade's going to give me, as well as his offensive dynamics.
I would take prime Pau Gasol in the finals over prime D Wade in the finals.
I don't know. Young D Wade carried Shaq.
He did, but that wasn't his prime. His prime. And Pau Gasol with Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest 1-2 punches as well. He was phenomenal. He always, people called him soft going into the finals, and then he would just go in and he would show up. He was a guaranteed 2-point. We're
talking about LeBron's.
I know we are. I know we are. But we're talking about 1-2.
Then Pau Gasol is not number one with Kobe. It's the other big man that played with Kobe.
But you make the argument that Kobe wasn't the number one, and so I can't really say that Shaq was that guy because he wasn't the number two. Shaq wasn't the number two. It was Kobe.
But if they're the best duo, best 1-2 punch would not be Kobe and Pau. It would be Shaq and Kobe.
No, but
their dominance was better.
Again, like Shaq was the number one and Kobe was the 2, or you could say Kobe was the 1A.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Like 100%, you say that it was Kobe and it was Pau as the number 2, right? And then the other number 2 that I would take over prime D Wade is Anthony Davis. Like Anthony Davis is just phenomenal on, with the Lakers as far as what he's done defensively, offensively. He carried us to the finals, man. He was like, LeBron played great, but AD was the catalyst. He was the reason why we were in the finals.
I'm biased. I'll be honest. I'm biased. I just think that the way D Wade, well, if I'm talking about clutch too, I think D Wade's more clutch than AD. Not as clutch as Kyrie, but I know the defense, like I said, that ties back to everything together. Because I think, yes, AD plays defense, but I don't think he has a true clutch bone in his body. Like he might have like a little. He literally put teams away. Shot. He made in the bubble year that no one gives credit to. But no one gives credit to that bubble year. So
it's a championship. It's still.
I agree. It is a championship, but we have not seen him do it besides that 1 year. At least D Wade was out there with LeBron.
He was outperforming Jokic this year. He was outperforming Jokic this year in the playoffs.
Yeah, was he?
He was outperforming him. Yes, he was beating him up every game. He was better defensively and was catalyst of our defense this year, and was the only reason why we were in games. Really.
So are you saying
offensively he showed up?
So he outperformed him offensively in the playoffs against each other.
I said that his defense and offense outplayed Jokic's offense and defense. That's what I'm saying.
I'll give you the defense, but the offense was way heavier though for Joker.
But what he brought defensively was just as good as Jokic's offense.
But Jokic also produced a lot more points for all his assists and his buckets he was scoring. And by the way, he cooked AD when AD was guarding him too.
All he has is the ball in his hand the entire time. He's the only ball handler on that team. Even Jamal Murray's not a ball handler. Jamal Murray is catching on
but AD,
pick and rolls. Like,
but AD didn't lock him up neither though.
Handler.
But AD didn't lock him up.
He didn't have to lock him up because AD wasn't put on him to be the guy that locks him up.
Well, because like Jake says, he can't.
Nobody's gonna lock up Jokic. That you can't make that argument.
Well, Jake said it earlier. AD struggles against big guys that can score.
But the league is not designed. He is, but the league is not designed for you to be able to lock guys up anymore like that when they have the ball in their hands for fucking 80% of the plays. Well, he's still going to get his numbers.
Well, I mean, I just think LeBron and D Wade were a better duo than LeBron and AD have been. I mean, you can sit there and say what you want. I mean,
yeah, they have more championships and they were more competitive in an Eastern Conference that was watered down. You had 3 teams that were competitive and the rest of the East was watered down. The Lakers are 10 games over 500 in the 8 seed or whatever seed we were this year, 9 seed or whatever it was.
If you're those two guys though, don't be an 8 seed then. Maybe be the 1 seed because those two weren't really injured this year. So
they weren't injured this year, but
so maybe they should have been 8 seed.
We had an inept coach,
a deep bench.
We had the deepest bench in the league. No, we had problems with it with the rest of our team. We have problems with the rest of our team.
Celtics bench is better than the Lakers bench.
That is not true. That is 100% not true. I cannot abide by that. That is not true. Again,
they're averaging more points.
Listen, you guys literally just said you could not name anybody outside of their top 7 players.
Just because I can name guys on Lakers bench doesn't mean they're better. They're just guys because they're always fucking displayed or talked about by you. That's why I know is because you talk about them so much. And speaking of Lakers, though,
I'll take a 40-year-old Al Horford over the Lakers bench.
Let's talk about the Lakers though, real quick. So, is JJ Redick going to be the next coach of the Los Angeles Lakers?
What we learned is that the JJ Redick and LeBron podcast was really just an interview process. It was just an early interview process. Like we're watching
LeBron's
these two guys talk about it. LeBron's picking his brain. LeBron's like, "Hey, here's this clipboard. Show me what you can do with this play. What would you do in this pick and roll situation?" And he's like drawing it up and just him drawing on the fucking key on the board. He could have drawn the most horrible play calling of all time, but he drew X's and O's, and that's more than Darvin Ham ever fucking did for us.
Well, what's gonna be funny is when you guys fail with JJ Redick, he's gonna fire JJ as the coach and on his show.
Well, that show can't continue if he's the coach, right?
No, they said it can.
And I want it to. I mean, I want to live for the moment when JJ starts fucking Taurean Prince over fucking whoever we have on the bench, and LeBron just straight up asks him during the podcast, "Hey, why are you starting Taurean Prince?" Like, I want to see that happen. I want to see that.
They're gonna have guidelines though. I guarantee they're gonna, because like you're not gonna. They're probably not gonna talk true strategy and game plan because you don't want other guys to hear that. Nita, you're not gonna see why. I think there's gonna be. I think
what you're gonna see more is that they're gonna be breaking down other teams.
Yeah, for sure. If they're gonna keep it going, they're gonna break down other games and other.
Do you guys even watch it?
No,
I haven't seen it. I'm not.
No.
I watch ours.
I see snippets, but it's just like it's like every podcast. Like I don't actually listen to full podcasts. I just listen to the little snippets that come out. I
only listen to like 2 true podcasts. Obviously, I listen to ours just to see how we did, like kind of things to make notes of. But outside ours, I listen to 2 podcasts, and they're not even sports related. Honestly, they're just kind of bullshit podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if we're going to talk about the Lakers in this hiring, I do think that this is a good hiring. I like it. JJ Redick is one of my favorite. Actually, he is my favorite all-time college basketball player. Like I loved watching him. You've seen what he's been able to do over his years in the NBA. I think he can come in and immediately make everybody's jump shot better. Like he's going to look at somebody's jump shot and just be like, "Hey, jackass, go watch my video that I posted on YouTube 10 years ago to show everybody how to shoot." And like I think that's going to be good. I think he does have the basketball IQ to be able to do it, but I'm really excited for the assistant coaches that they're trying to bring on this. You know, Borrega, they're trying to bring in
really?
Rondo. They're trying. I know there's like reports out there that they're trying to bring in Scotty Brooks as the assistant head coach. I don't know if he would take that. But again,
I would love to see Rondo there. Rondo's got a high IQ as well.
He does, and I'm really excited for what they're trying to put around it. Again, all of this really doesn't mean nothing unless you can actually flip some of these players for guys that are going to make an impact. Because as we all know, I've been eating the pie all year long that I said that the Lakers had the best bench in the league, and they did not. So like I've been eating that all year long. It's cool. It is what it is. However, we've got to make some moves and we've got to get it. I don't know if it's a third star, but we got to go out and get guys that actually perform in situations where we need them. I think it's a guarantee that D'Angelo Russell is gone. I don't know if we can even get him to do a sign and trade. He might just want to be just straight gone. But do we flip Austin Reeves in this situation? You know, I think we've got to come off of the stance that Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura are not tradable assets. We've got to make some moves, and we've got to make plays that are going to bring in guys that can make impact. And we've got to look at the future beyond LeBron. And we have to say, all right, who's the guy we want to pair with Anthony Davis?
And another thing too, Alan, I stopped counting because you said you guys had 10 guys that could score 20 points this year. It will happen. So I stopped at 6, and then I think Spencer got one later on. But so that's a boost because that's an 11th guy. We were only counting for 10. So you got 7 guys out of your 11 deep guys. So
you know what?
It wasn't 10.
I'd venture to guess that there's not very many teams in the league that had 7 people score 20 points though.
I mean, I can go look. I think even Miami might have had 7 guys that did it.
Miami is Miami. Like they get guys that just come out of nowhere and just shoot fucking threes and score 20 points. Like that's what they're known for.
I think it's gonna be a phenomenal hire for JJ Redick. What's not phenomenal is that the Warriors have been interviewing Darvin Ham for an assistant. So that's not phenomenal. But I think it's gonna be good. JJ's a great basketball mind. So like I think you put the right pieces with the assistant coaches and stuff around him. I think it could be really, really something great. So I mean that's something to watch. I wish LaDouche would hurry up and retire so I could at least enjoy JJ Redick coaching. But until he leaves, I hope the Lakers lose every game. So
well, what type of leash? Jake, you're like our insider for everything. So what type of leash do you think that JJ is going to have?
I think he's got a long leash. I don't think it's going to be a quick term, especially now that he's BFFs with LeBron. I think they're going to give him time to build a roster. I think he's going to have a long leash, actually.
Yeah. So you think that this hire is a hire made for beyond LeBron's career?
For sure.
And it should be. It should be.
It should be at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
They should find someone, and they were close apparently to giving up or getting Kyrie. I think last.
I mean, I guess the only way it wouldn't be, I guess, if he looked like Steve Nash in his first coaching, unless it's like an absolute disaster or something. But I don't see that happening.
Derek Fisher is in there. Derek Fisher.
Something like it was. I mean, it was bad.
And Jake, maybe Darvin Ham also goes to Golden State, and like a lot of the coaches that kind of like failed, they somehow go there. Maybe they learn how to be a coach again. I mean, Mike Brown did it.
Well, let's not forget that
Kerr gets them all hired. He does,
but let's not forget that the reason why Darvin Ham got hired by the Lakers in the first place is because he was one of the most prolific assistant coaches that was out there. Like a lot of people liked him as an assistant coach, and so the Lakers took that chance on him. And what we saw was that he just wasn't ready for the head coach position. And
that happens. I mean, that happens a lot of times, actually.
Well, can he bounce back on another team? Yeah.
Your first coaching gigs with LeBron too. I mean, that's tough to begin with. Like you're going
to
have
aging LeBron too.
you're gonna have
Not,
someone.
not saying he's old. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't suck, but it's an aging LeBron who this age in his career, LeBron wants the coach that he wants. It's just the way.
LeBron's hard to coach. He's gonna run his own play. He's gonna do his own thing, no matter who the coach is. So I'm not saying Darvin Ham's good, no. But
the other thing about LeBron is that if the coach does anything outside of what LeBron wants, he checks out.
Absolutely.
He checks out and he doesn't even pay attention to you. And when your number one star is not paying attention to you, what do you think the rest of the players are going to do?
Lost the locker room at that point. Yeah, absolutely.
LeBron might as well just go to Boston and just play with them. He'd fit that system. Do what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
And by the way, he would never.
There's only two teams that can do a super max outside the Lakers. Detroit, which he's not going to go to, and Philly. So
yeah, I heard Philly wanted to try to call him when he opts out.
But I think he would rather. I don't think he can survive the Philly crowd.
I think he retires with the Lakers. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I think he stays there too. He's got too much invested there. Yeah. I think Philly ends up with like maybe Paul George. Philly ends up maybe trading for a
Philly wants it.
Jimmy Butler and try to rekindle that.
Yeah,
Philly wants a big name. Yeah, they just want a big name. That's all they want.
They're talking about offering Butler like a max deal or something.
Yeah, they are, and I don't know why you would do that at this point.
I don't he's
at that point, I mean, I let him go then if you want. I mean, I don't think Miami should pay.
Because that experiment worked out great the first time.
No, but I know we didn't talk because it's been an hour. I mean, I don't know if y'all want to talk Indiana and Minnesota, but
well, one thing that I would say about Minnesota, I don't, talk too much about it because we have been on here for an hour. But with Minnesota, I think that their future is bright. I think that they've got a GM that's making really great moves. I think the ownership team is what's really going to decide what happens with Karl Anthony Towns because they do have a lot of guys on really high contracts. Obviously you got Rudy Gobert. You're going to have to sign Anthony Edwards. You're going to have, you've got Karl Anthony Towns already on a max deal. What are you going to do with that? And I think that there's rumors out there. There's things that are going around. One of the things that I think could actually solve their problem is a trade that I don't know if Phoenix actually says no to, and that's Kevin Durant, Karl Anthony Towns for Kevin Durant, straight up.
They got to move on from Cat. It's time to move on from Cat.
Well, Gobert.
I think so. And no, I think Gobert, you've got to stick with him because of what he represents for that defense and the way that the team is constructed. I think Cat's if the rumors are that the ownership group is going to ask Cat to take a step back as far as his role in Minnesota. But are you really going to want to pay somebody that much money to take a step back? Like I don't see that. And I think reuniting Cat with Devin Booker is a great opportunity too. I know we talked previously about Devin Booker possibly going to the Knicks, but I think that Phoenix has to make a move with one of their guys. And maybe Kevin Durant actually sees that as an opportunity to go to a team where he can make a positive impact and make them even more competitive. Because I think Kevin Durant on the Timberwolves as compared to Cat, I think that that's a much more competitive team.
Yeah, another classy Kevin Durant move. Waves his no trade clause and says, can't beat him, so I'll fucking join him.
Phoenix is cash strapped. They got to move something. They can't get a bench. They're completely cash strapped. And with Cat, I would take any scorer over Cat. I would take a Paul George. I would take a Jimmy Butler at this point. Like they need another scorer because you got what you get out of Anthony Edwards is dog. You got Rudy Gobert as a center. Like you need another scorer, not like a Cat. They got too much size going on.
Well, the problem with Cat is but Cat doesn't even use his size all the time. He wants to sit there and just jack threes.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is that you've got a guy on the same team that can fill that role of a stretch four in Jaden McDaniels. You don't have to. You don't need Cat to be as flat-footed as he is. You can move him and still have a defensive guy and a guy who can knock down threes bring in another offensive guy who's going to get you that mid-range game.
And they found somebody, and they found something with Nas Reed too, because that's a key player that can help you fill that spot as well.
Yeah, I mean,
they got pieces. Trade Cat. Like people will want Cat. Trade Cat. Get another offensive scorer there to pair with Edwards, and they got the roster. They got players.
That's going to be very interesting to see what they do in the offseason. And speaking of the offseason, boys, next Monday night, June 10th, we're going to talk about the NFC North. And I know, Alan, we talked about the AFC North being the best division in football. I think if Minnesota could play decent with their quarterback situation, the NFC North could be the second best division in the NFL. If you think about it, the Packers are there, the Lions are definitely there, and the Bears we think are going to take a step. Could the Vikings do the same thing? And that's something we're going to talk about next Monday night. Not sure which cast we're going to get. Hopefully Doc doesn't get scared like Luke did and hides from his division.
Super excited for that. I think that's going to be one of the most competitive divisions in the entire league. And just a quick note on it. I think the Packers might take a step back compared to the rest of these teams. So
I have Packers starting slow. I have them actually start 0-2, and then they find their little stride.
I think Packers overachieved last year. I think
I definitely think that they did.
Yeah.
So, and then everybody else in that division got better. So, well, outside of the Vikings, if the Vikings actually come out and play,
Vikings had what's that talking about the Vikings? But the Vikings had a lot of stuff going on last year. That was good. The defense was good until like the last few weeks. I think Chicago, because of their schedule, they're going to be in that division hunt until December, and they start losing a few games, and that's when Detroit separates a little bit. Is December on? And I hate to say it, Jake, but I have them winning Week 17 at San Francisco, and that's going to be the 1 seed game. I think that whoever wins that wins the 1 seed.
Yeah, obviously, you know what? I think that none of that matters.
It doesn't
for the 49ers. I think that the only thing that matters for the Niners is winning the Super Bowl. Like,
I
it
think
doesn't
the Niners
matter where you finish, how you finish, where you have to play. I think you're the better team in any situation, and you just got to win the Super Bowl.
But have we seen have the Niners with Kyle Shanahan been a road team to get there?
Listen,
that's a key thing though too.
Either way, if they're the 1 seed or if they're the 5 seed because they didn't win the division, I don't even see them not winning the division. I think
I think the Rams could maybe challenge them, but we'll see. I don't think
if they're like the 3 seed compared to the 1 seed, I don't think that matters. They have to win the Super Bowl. That's just hands down, regardless of what the situation is.
And they'll be and that episode will be probably the June 27th episode or June 24th episode is the NFC West. So Jake will definitely be on that one. But no, can't wait to do that. That's gonna be live on all 3 platforms: Facebook, Twitter, which is also X, and then Facebook Live. But no, great episode, boys. Can't wait to see these finals. Can't wait to get back here next week. Also talk some basketball in between games, in between travel days, and talk a little bit of maybe we'll start going live for some of these games too.
Just one quick note: there's 20 days set aside for this finals. Like, you don't need that many games to play a finals. I think they're getting like 2 days off in between games.
I know, it's ridiculous.
It's kind of ridiculous to me.
It is.
Well, it's because I think they also have, especially like leagues that play with each other, they kind of have that written agreement, like unwritten agreement, whatever. Like, they're not going to put games on with hockey because they're in their Stanley Cup. So like they want to offset each other. They want to make sure that people are watching both championships essentially. But you're right.
We can go live for a finals game though. That'd be fun.
Oh yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, that would be more of like see what who's when they're playing. What fucking time and all that. Dallas, the thing about Dallas is they're not all the way out west, so we should have decent time games.
We'll look at it and see. We're not pick a night or whatever. Go live for a finals game. It'll be fun.
But no, great episode, boys. Can't wait to see who wins this. Hopefully, Dallas Mavericks pulls it off. It would be cool to see Dallas back in there again. But that's Alan Tomasello. That's Jake Winnicott. I'm Mark Davis. This is All About the Balls podcast, and good luck to the Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. We are out.
Thank you for checking out another episode of All About the Balls podcast. We want to thank all of our listeners and supporters of the Sack House. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram @the Sack House.